Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 239. I am your host, Keith Andrew, and don't ignore the beeping. That's my alarm clock going off. I'm too lazy to turn it off. Now, this is episode 239 of the Keith Andrew Network. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here is the beautiful and talented Kimberly, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Now, for people who want to know what the Keith Andrew Network is, basically the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities, but you should never give up. And you should prove to people you still amount to something. Labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be for the rest of your life. And you live only once, unless you believe in reincarnation. But, you know, as of right now, we have this one chance to do what we love, and we should make the best of it. Half hour, 45 minutes of your time, and starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Describe yourself in 20 words or less. I'm doing the best I can, writing and acting, and I used to produce and trying to live my life the best way I can, doing what I love, and trying desperately to make it, like, pay the bills.
I hear you. Same here.
Yeah.
Well, you can probably do raps around me, but I'm just still, I can do what you do, but it's gotta be scaled back.
You can do whatever you want to do. I don't think you have to worry about scaling everything back. I think you're just doing it to your comfort level, and when you're ready, you'll go wherever the heck you want.
No, absolutely, and it's uncensored, freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression, so you can say whatever you want. But I appreciate your support.
You've got it whenever you need it.
I appreciate it. And one thing, we usually jump around, but I want to answer the one question that you mentioned. You can do whatever you want. Is people like, and this gets to me, and I like, you can fire me up, I love to fire you up to make it more for an interesting interview. But what gets to me is, like, you say you're retarded, you say you're handicapped, but yet you're doing a talk show. Yeah, because it's the only thing I haven't screwed up yet, and I have a strong passion for it. What about it? And I took my go, you have a disability, but we don't see it. Oh, well, maybe you should talk to my family about my disability. They see it more than usual. Yeah, but you're talking to us like there's nothing wrong with you. Are you a scam artist? Are you an asshole? Are you putting a face on? Are you this? Are you that? I'm like, one, I ain't going to hell because I do have a disability, number one. And number two, there's hundreds of different types of learning disabilities and disabilities. Mm-hmm. Just because, my arm's not twisted or I'm not distorted or whatever, are composed or so half of my face is seen, half it's not. Just because, I know that sounds terrible, I apologize.
No, you're right. Unless people physically see something, they can't quantify it. They don't understand. So unless they physically can see something wrong, and I say that with very big air quotes, they can't understand that you're slightly different. It's very hard to see that because when we're so used to seeing everything in magazines being perfect and on TV and movies, when you see someone who is different, they're radically different. It's very obvious. So when you see someone who looks normal, it's hard.
No, absolutely. And people, I give you my brother made a joke about me saying, if you look up handicap in a dictionary, you see my picture. Or it was something stupid like that. But it's true that, okay, my picture isn't going to be there. That's not true, so people out there don't buy the dictionary just to see me, unless you want me to autograph it. Doing a little plug for a dictionary. But, when you look up the word handicap and retarded, people would automatically assume, and that's the one thing about Americans, that they like to label everything. Okay, sometimes it isn't a bad thing you want to be labeled. That people like to label as in stereotype. Black people are stereotyped, Mexicans are stereotyped, or white people are stereotyped. That's another subject we can get to or whatever. But for me, they're like, well, you said you're handicapped and retarded, but yet, what I do with the glasses is we don't see it. And if we don't see it, then, you're a con artist, you're a liar, you're manipulating people, you're doing this, you're doing that, and it's like, well, you can't please everyone, and people ask me, well, what is your disability? And I know we're going off topic, and I apologize. And people ask me, well, what's my disability? Well, I'm like you, except for I'm a guy, apparently, and I learn at a slower pace. And for a perfect example, you went to college, you did all these things, you're able to drive. And when we mentioned scaled back, I can't drive, I can't go to college. When I seem to take a step forward, when I make a mistake, or Donald Trump, a huge mistake, I take a big ass step back. So as soon as I give you a perfect example, when I did my talk show, it was a huge step forward. But when people were coming out and saying, my agent or my publicist said it was degrading to be with people like you, you ask a lot of stupid questions, we don't like the video quality, then it would be a step back.
But see, why would that be a step back when someone else's opinions, it's hard to explain, but look, I've had publicists who is an amazing publicist. I have agents who are wonderful. But at the end of the day, any press is good press. Any coverage is good coverage. And unless you are the level of like a Stephen King or Angelina Jolie or someone like that, you take everything for what they are, which is a positive opportunity to get your voice out there, regardless of what you're saying. So if the video quality isn't great, for all we know, maybe it's the upload, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's something else, maybe it's my internet connection. It shouldn't matter what anybody else says. If you come across with an interview that maybe you felt you weren't prepared for or that overwhelmed you, then that's a reason to step back. But don't ever step back because some other person tells you they didn't like what you did. It's not like you're murdering somebody. You're doing an interview.
No, absolutely. I'll give you a perfect example if you're interested.
Go for it.
When I first started my talk show, don't ask me why it seemed like a good idea at the time. But I do this because I have so bad social anxieties. It helps me with my people skills. And it makes me more outgoing. And also, I have depression. And when I first started, I did, and don't ask me why, it seemed a good idea at the time, I did a phone interview. I did 72 phone interviews. I interviewed people from Power Rangers, Spider-Man, and a couple other things. And I was still getting anxious, I was still getting anxiety, and it's like, I'm still having panic attacks when I'm doing something wrong. And at the same time, people were saying to me, you have this great format. Why aren't you as big or bigger than you portray yourself to be? Why don't you have sponsors? Why don't you have people helping you? Well, I'm doing the best I can with a disability. Would you like to help me? No. If you can't do it yourself, then you're not capable of moving up to the next level. I was like, yeah, thanks a lot, asshole. But I didn't say that to him. I said that after I hung up. I am professional. And also, I'm just trying to make you laugh. But also, that one person said to me, do it over, do it in a different format, and see what happens. And so I did it over. Thanks to you, we're up 239. And that's another thing I'll get to in a couple minutes. But originally, actually I'm going to mention now, I originally did 300. And during that time, well, I'm going to jump around a little bit. I have ADD. Basically, it's 239 now. And reason it dropped from 300, and I'm going to ramble up and then I'll pass it back to you. Then I promise I will shut up. Because this is your time after all. This is not my time. But when I first started, here's the camera on my phone. Whatever you see on the phone screen, that's what the camera is set up. So the reflection is the camera, and this is what the phone saw. So that was season 1. Everything was from the phone. So, here's the phone, my hand's the camera, that was just starting out because I wanted to show people transitions. Season 2 is I recorded the camera from the computer screen. And that's when people said, yeah, it wasn't good quality, it was this, it was that. People said to me, why don't you use Skype Recorder? You should have done it from the start. Yes, but then you wouldn't have seen this transition. You wouldn't have seen me, involve over the years. You wouldn't have seen me change, saying, okay, you're doing like everyone else is doing. But, I started from the phone, I started from the computer screen, now I'm doing Skype Recorder, so now it's going to be cut in half. I'm going to be on the right, you're going to be on the left, or if you're interested, you can interview me, and you're going to be on the right, and I'm going to be on the left. And so you see during the 3 years, it's a transition. Mm-hmm. And people are like, well, you should have done it right the first time. Yes, but then you wouldn't have seen me change. You wouldn't have seen me get over my anxiety. You wouldn't have seen my people skills change, if that makes any sense. I don't know, it's ridiculous.
You're showing growth. So, again, regardless of what they think, regardless of what they say, you've advanced and you've improved. And, great, somebody new to start that way in the beginning. Wonderful. That didn't work for you. You did it your way. You learned. And you are a more experienced and enriched person where you are now than you were when you started. And that's just by your growth. So, again, I'm not concerned about what anybody else said before. You're doing fine.
No, absolutely. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you about life growing up, your time in high school and college, and your career. And then at the end of the show, I'll pass it to you. You can ask me anything you want. But you can get up, walk around, get a drink if you want. Right now, I'm just going to... there you go. Well, in front of my face, it went over my head. Now I'm just doing I don't usually do this, but I would like to get sponsors and promotions. I like to promote things. Mm-hmm. So you're the first time I'm doing this, so...
Go for it.
So I'm now affiliated with Target. Go figure. I worked for them, and then I got fired. But, I don't know, maybe I'm working to get my job back, but, hey, I'm working with them in some form, so it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. Take it where you got it.
So now, for anyone who wants to go to Target, for a limited time only, until, I didn't even write down the date, until July 16th, you can save up to 60% on all clearance items. Target, pay more, pay less. Expect more, pay less. First time doing this, so if I'm gonna butcher it, whatever. And also, it's Celebrity CM. It's up in what I talk to you about right now. Celebrity CM. If you're interested and a celebrity from Breaking Bad, from Person of Interest, from different TV shows, genres, go to celebrityvm.com. And then, for example, I'm on there. You can pay me $30. And for a perfect example, when you pay me $30, if it's your birthday, if it's your wedding, if it's something you want or a shout out, then I will pay you. You pay me, and I can say whatever you want. And you're an actress, and that's perfect for you to get on there, get more exposure. People will pay you $30. It's like, hey, Kimberly, it's my birthday. Can you wish me a happy birthday? I'm getting married. My brother's birthday's coming up. Can you wish him a happy birthday? It's whatever you want them to say, they will say it for you, as long as it's not provocative or bizarre. So go to celebrityvm.com, Target, expect more, pay less. You get that 60% off until the 16th of July. Check it out. And now we are back from the commercial break. And I know I buzzed that, but hey, it's my first time. You're gonna... Don't worry, there's gotta be a load of scripts and box on there too. Doing the best I can with a learning disability. You can't please everyone.
Do the best you can. It's all anyone asks for.
No, absolutely. Now, I know I rambled on, and I apologize. Now I'm gonna pass it over. Actually, before I pass it over, I'm gonna ask you the questions like we mentioned before the commercial break. Can you tell us a little about yourself growing up, number one? And when you were in high school and college, were you a study nerd, party animal, and did you ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids?
No, I'm scared of heights. Never did a human pyramid. I don't know. Growing up, there was nothing special. I played softball. I absolutely hated school. Hated school with a passion. I was a softball player, so if I wasn't on the softball field, I really didn't care. It was there was no reason for me to go to school except to sit through classes and go play softball. I was bullied a lot, so grammar school was really unpleasant. When I say grammar school, I mean I went to a school from pre-kindergarten to 8th grade. It was a Catholic grammar school in New York. And so we really, I didn't have the middle school stepping up ceremonies or anything like that. I was in a uniform from 1st grade to 8th grade. And, I've got some friends that I still have in my life that I'm very lucky I have in my life from my grammar school. But other than that, I don't look upon it fondly. High school... everybody says they would love to go back to being a teenager again. The only thing I would go back to my high school years for was to meet the few people that I cherish greatly. Beyond that, I would rather go back to being 21. At least I could drink. I don't even drink anymore. I'm too old. No, it's just, there's no reason to go back to high school. I didn't like it. I didn't have many friends. I actually transferred high schools at the end of my sophomore year to a different one because I couldn't handle the idiocy and being picked on. I just got very frustrated. So I went to a new school, and it was like, yay. But at least I had softball again. I didn't have softball in my sophomore year. And then I got it back in junior and senior year. I think one of my best memories of high school is actually going back to, because I was in Catholic school, so the Catholic schools all played each other, and I was playing for one high school, and I go back to my old high school, and I hit a home run. And I'll never forget it, because as we're doing the high fives at the end that you're supposed to be all sportsmanship-like, and I mean, whatever, it's appropriate, you do it, you don't cause fights, it's silly. So I'm sitting there, and the other coach, and the other team, he's like, I think I know you. And I go, yes. You cut me. And he just looks at me and he goes, oh, okay. And it was like one of those moments where you're just like, ha! And you giggle about it in yourself and then you move on because you've kind of proved to somebody when they said you couldn't do something, you proved to them you could. And I went to a 4-year college. I got a degree in psychology because I'd rather understand why people do what they do, because Lord knows people are crazy.
Oh, they are.
And, you know, I think one of my favorite moments of college was showing up, and it's my first day of my human biology class, because I was going for marine science originally. I wanted to be a marine biologist, and I remember sitting in a class, and the guy's going through his list, and he's rattling off, and he's like, Kimberly Amato, and I go, here, present, you know, accounted for, whatever. And he looks, he's like, I know somebody named Amato. And I go, oh, really? You know, who is it? Robert Amato. I go, yes, which one? I said, my brother's Robert Amato, but my father is Robert Amato. Both of them went there. And he looks at me, he's like, Robert Carl. I go, oh, that's my dad. He looks at me and he smiles and he goes, can you please sit a little further back? And I remember coming home going, do you remember this teacher? I don't even remember the teacher's name, but I asked my father, I said, do you know who this guy is? He's like, oh yeah, he was my teacher. Yeah, I didn't do very well in that class.
Guy sounds like a tool.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird, because every time he looked at me, he'd be like, you can't look at me. Why? Because you remind me how old I am. I'm like, okay. It wasn't that he was a bad teacher, it's just, you know, when your first semester, it's a really big change and really huge adjustment. So, but it was one of the funniest moments of my entire career was listening to him going, huh, okay, what do you do with that? You know, beyond that, I graduated college and took some time off. I had done a lot of extra work. I was doing a lot of auditions, so I was really busy, and I didn't want to continue my degree. But I got bored one year and said, you know, let me go back to school. I had been writing really bad little short stories. I took creative writing in college. And then I decided, all right, I'm going to go get my master's. And everybody's like, oh, just apply all over. See what you get into before you decide what you want to study. Because psychology is really broad. There's so much you can study in psychology, whether it's marital psychology or child psychology or clinical psychology or abnormal psychology, research psychology, whatever. There's so much in it, and there's a lot of reading, and I love to read, but I do have an issue where I'll read the same line 3 or 4 times before my brain catches up. So sometimes it's hard for me when I have to read these statistical books that, you know, with I used to have a lazy eye. I've got a lot of training with it, so I figured we're talking about disabilities and things you can't see. I don't talk or brag about it. It's very, there's a lot of little things that make me feel very uncomfortable about it, because people stare at you, then they're like, really, where's it going? What's it doing? What's stop? But I have a problem with this eye where it will start to go over where I can't focus on what I'm reading. So, and my vision was horrible. I ended up having LASIK surgery in 2013. So I'm looking at all these things I want to study, and nothing really. Look, if you're having marital problems, I'm not the person to help you. I'm really not. Ooh, my apologies, my phone's ringing. I'm not the person to really talk to. You know, if clinical psychology I was good at, but, you know, I get too involved, I guess. I'm always so worried, and, you know, you put your heart in things. One thing about psychology is you have to be able to separate yourself if you're going to help people. And the one thing that fascinated me was forensic psychology. So I looked around, and I had applied to NYU, my alma mater. I applied to John Jay, and I ended up not getting into my alma mater, which was interesting. But I got into John Jay, and I got into NYU. And I had to weigh the pros and cons, and when push came to shove, forensic psychology is what I was drawn to. So I just went to John Jay, and wow, everybody wants to reach me now. My other phone's ringing. My apologies. And I ended up getting my master's degree in forensic psych and started doing, you know, horror films. And I did Under the Raven's Wing. I did short film Itch with Michelle Tomlinson. Flew to LA to shoot The Misadventures of McT&A with Michelle Tomlinson. There was just so much going on. And then I started writing. And I found so much enrichment in being creative with the forensic degree, more so than I ever thought I could. So that's my entire growing up story in about 30 seconds or less, I guess. Maybe 2 minutes.
No, I was very interested. I love stories.
I'm glad it was for you.
Are you interested in doing voiceovers?
I want to. There's been a lot going on this year, personally and professionally. It's been very difficult for me to actually sit down and record a reel. But between accents and my niece's birthday party is coming up soon, and I have to dress up as a chimney sweep because it's a Mary Poppins party. So I now have to all day do a British accent. So, I love doing accents. I love doing voices, and I also just like talking, which I guess helps. So.
Well, you can talk to me.
It's a matter of recording it and getting it up to my agent and seeing if anybody really wants to hire you, because there's so many talented and amazing professionals that do voiceovers, and it's really difficult to break into. So I would love it. If it works, awesome. But, if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, I do a lot of fan-made parodies just for fun. Would you be interested in doing one with me?
Sure.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
As long as you don't make me put on like a tutu and dance around like a fairy, we're good.
We can try after the show. We can talk about it. But also, we're both from New York. I've been interested in just sending like a couple of records for the Human Pyramid stuff. Would you be interested in helping me out with that?
Okay, when you say human period, I'm old school. I think cheerleaders, human pyramid.
No, when a pyramid, it's basically you stack on top of each other and you do the shape of the pyramid.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. I'm so scared of heights. I can't. It's the hardest thing for me. It's like even climbing up a ladder, I get very shaky. My legs get shaky. I can't handle heights at all.
Well, hypothetically, if you were to do it, where would you want to be? In the middle or the bottom?
I would have to be on the bottom. If I was anywhere from the bottom row, I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, no, don't know, leave me alone. With my luck, I'd have somebody kneeing me in the back, and then I would be like, oh, gotta move, and then I would tip the whole pyramid over. I am not a good person for human pyramids.
Well, if you're okay with it, I would love to have you part of it, or at least there to just watch it.
I would wave if you guys did it. It would be very bad for me to do.
Well, you're more than welcome to be there. And but like I said, I'm just looking. Basically, I'm just trying to get a bunch of women together to do the record. So we can get as many till we go, and you can be a part of it if you want, or you can just come and videotape it. Like I said, anything you want to do, you're more than happy to be.
Just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to pass the show over to you. Actually, before I do, you mentioned the story about the guy knowing your dad.
Yeah. I'm going to break my phone.
Actually, you can take, if you want, we can take a commercial break and you can see what it is.
No. They don't. The thing is, 90% of the phone calls I get on the phone that's ringing are, you've got the IRS has a lien on you. Give us your social security number and bank account numbers. And it's all spam and telemarketing and fake.
No, I get that too. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
You mentioned the story about teaching on your dad. I got a couple funny stories. If you have funny stories, I'd love to hear them. But, well, my dad was assistant principal for 36 years.
Wow.
And, well, between 36 and 46, I like to say 46, but, it's people tell me one thing, it's like, oh, you're misunderstood. But 36 years, and he has this role. Where in the city are you from?
I'm actually from Long Island.
Oh, what part?
Nassau County, Hicksville area.
Oh, that's
like
nice.
House at Bethpage.
I
don't know exactly where our house is, like on a weird, where all the towns kind of converge. So depending on whatever they tell me, I live in whatever. Smile, loud, and agree.
My grandfather used to live in Seaford, and my parents used to live in Massapequa.
Massapequa. Wow, that's where All American Burger is. Best burgers and hot dogs on Long Island, all-American burger.
Well, if you're interested, maybe the next time I'm on Long Island, we should definitely hang out or something.
Let me know if I am free. Life has been really busy, but if I am free and available, why not?
Sure. And so the funny story about my dad was he has this rule. School was in the Bronx, IS 125, and the rule was no hats in school. So there's this big, huge guy, and he was a student. So my dad walked up behind him, and he took the hat off, and the guy spun around and was one of his former students.
Uh-oh.
And he said, "Oh, Mr. Blah, 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 it's good to see you again." And it's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were one of my students." And it's like, "Yeah, I was a former student."
It's like, can I have my hat back now?
There's this other one. There's this other giant, a mountain of a man-child. He was a beast. My dad did a lot of things. He clotheslined a bunch of kids. The kids were running down the hallway, and my dad would just randomly stick his arm out and clothesline them. It's like, "Yo, man, why did you clothesline me?" "I didn't. I just stuck my arm out. You ran in my arm."
Oh, boy.
And my dad jabbed this guy in his chest, and the guy didn't even flinch. My dad worked with a lot of African-American students, so a lot of people in the city. You know, I kind of wish I went to the city because it teaches you how to interact with different people.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy, his name was Keith. Big, huge guy. He was only like 15, but he was freaking massive. My dad jabbed him in the stomach because he was fighting with the other kids to make him stop.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Mr. blah, 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 I don't want to hurt you." Because the guy didn't even flinch. My brother, who was a teacher in my dad's school, he's like, "Yo, man, you have some chips for me?" So my brother's like, "Yeah, here's some chips. Just sit in the back of the class, don't cause any problems." My dad had a lot of fun stories.
Teaching is not easy. Teaching is a difficult profession.
No, absolutely. And here's one more thing that I'm going to pass it to you. One of my former students, not my former students, one of my dad's former students was in jail, but he is a big name star. You want to take a guess who he is? Here's a hint. He was for tax evasion.
No idea. Unless you're Wesley Snipes?
Yes. I have the yearbook in the basement. I think it's 1967, 8, or 9. It was one of them. And I have a picture of Wesley Snipes.
Wow.
My dad met a lot of famous people. He had Wesley Snipes in his class. He had once with Al Pacino. Here's another funny story for you. You'd like to hear it?
Go for it.
My dad had once with Al Pacino.
Wow.
My dad didn't even know it was Al Pacino. He just said, he was talking to one of his teacher friends. "Oh, my friend Al was got to come by." And Al Pacino came in. He came in with his hat down. I didn't say, "Hey, Allie, come over here. Meet my friend, Mr. Blah, blah, blah." And he came over, he took his hat off. Holy shit, Al Pacino.
Wow.
But my dad was on the float in New York City with Mayor Giuliani. He met a lot of people. Tony Bennett. And we keep telling him write a book, but he won't do it. But passing it back over to you, this is your time after all wrapping up. Is there any funny stories you'd like to share? Any funny pranks you pulled on people?
I don't pull pranks. I'm not good at it. I'm too... I can't keep secrets. And I mean can't keep secrets not in the sense of if people tell me something, I can't keep it. I mean, like, if I buy you a gift for Christmas in July, you get it in July. I buy my wife, I buy her birthday presents on my birthday. So she laughs at me. I got her an iPad once on my birthday. Funniest story recently, I go to Pennsylvania. There's a quarry there called Dutch Springs. And my wife and I go scuba diving. Because, we're still new. We want to hone our skills. And it's a very contained, controlled environment to do it. So it's very safe. And so we're going scuba diving, and we pull up into the hotel, and I've got this massive duffel bag full of all our scuba gear. We've got bins and all this other stuff. So we really need to get into the room so I can put my stuff away because this bag is heavy. And the girl's typing in. She's like, oh, and she stops. And she stares at me. And I'm looking at her. I'm looking at my wife. I'm looking back at this woman. I'm like, hi. She's like, hi. Yeah, what's up? I've not run into people that just stop and stare at you. I'm nobody famous. She's like, you're that girl on Once Upon a Time. Huh? She's like, you're on Once Upon a Time. I'm like, no, I'm not. My name is Kimberly Amato. I am not on Once Upon a Time. She's like, you look like the girl who plays Emma. I'm like, I'm not blonde. She's like, well, you could have dyed your hair. I'm not Jennifer Morrison. I don't look like Jennifer Morrison. Jennifer Morrison is younger than me. I look at it, I started laughing, and she all of a sudden, she's like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like maybe a 30-second, maybe to a minute thing, but it was rather amusing. And then she calls her friend out back. As she's typing in, making our room keys and all that, she's like, come out here, you gotta look at this lady. She looks just like Jennifer Morrison from Once Upon a Time. She looks like Emma. And I'm like, really? I felt like that little, bear in a cage going, oh, look at the little bear, don't pet him. And I finally get up to the room after the two ladies are like, oh, she so totally looks like Emma. No, I don't. But, okay.
You do a little bit.
It's the high cheekbones, I get it. We both have light eyes. But other than that, I don't have her figure. I don't have her paycheck. I don't have her hair. I'm not her. So I laugh. I'm like, okay, it's not something I haven't heard before. So I go upstairs to the room, and then I start hysterically laughing because I had just reconnected with somebody that I went to grammar school with, who is probably one of the most amazing women I've ever known. And we were very good friends in grammar school, but we kind of disconnected in high school and college, and then we reconnected recently because she happened to read my books. And I was like, you know what, we need to meet up for coffee, and we need to reconnect because we used to be friends. And everyone calls her Regina. And everyone that apparently called me the Savior. So here I am laughing hysterically, texting Jen going, I just ran into people who thought I was Emma Swan. And she writes back, she's like, well, Miss Swan, you might want to learn how to handle that. I'm like, Regina, do not make me come back to Long Island. It's a cute little funny thing we do because we both do watch the show and we laugh about it, but when other people do it and you just bring it up, the two of us couldn't stop laughing. And my wife is looking at me going, I don't see it. You look like Kimberly. I don't get it. I don't see it. And I'm like, and that is why I married you, because you don't see anybody but who's married to you, and that works for me. But yeah, that's pretty much the funniest thing of recent dates that's occurred. Other than me hunting down Stitch on a cruise ship because it was my birthday and I wanted a picture with Stitch. Other than that, there's really nothing. I'm thinking, and I'm like, no, I've just been writing. I've been writing and working and working and writing.
What about just anything stupid that you did that's actually funny? I'll give you a perfect example. I do a lot of stupid things. Not on purpose, but I remember I went to this Italian restaurant. Happened 2 times. I went to this Italian restaurant the first time, and there's a soup called lobster bisque. Or bisque.
Yeah.
Bisque. And I said, yes, can I get the spaghetti and meatballs, and for the soup, can I get the lobster bitch?
That would be unique.
And the guy looked at me. I was there with my family, and it's like, excuse me? Yeah, the lobster bitch. No, it says bris. Bris? No, it's bisque. Just give me the damn soup.
That is just get it. No, really and truly, I don't. Yeah, no. I'm really not, I'm rather boring, I guess. I don't know. I don't do well at pranks. I'm terrified of heights. I really don't. I've got a small group of friends that I hang out with all the time, and I'm really not, I don't know. I I don't do stupid stuff because I just sit there and smile and wave. Yeah, I'm rather quiet.
I'm the same way. I'm bored. My brothers have all these funny stories, and I'm sitting here, and the same thing how I brought up the show and everything, and I'm just sitting here. Having it happen on the same day. I was thinking about the show, and I'm thinking about all my guests have these funny stories. My brother has funny stories. My dad has funny stories. Everyone has funny stories. I don't have anything. Well, except for a couple, one or two things, but zingers. But I'm bored.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe for other people we're boring, but I kind of like it that way. I enjoy, and also, you forget a lot of stuff that you've done. There could be great funny stories of my childhood that I have no idea or don't remember because they're not really relevant right now. The story I told you about the Emma Swan thing happened last year. It's still relevant. But, life changes so fast and we grow up and, we grow old so quickly that it's like I don't worry or waste time thinking or remembering about the past. I enjoy every day and every moment. And maybe that means I won't remember or process or control or whatever something that's in my head. But, I just try to live life to the fullest as quickly and as best as I can. Because we waste too much time worrying about everything else.
No, absolutely. Can't live your life in fear.
Yeah, so, I just do the best I can and with what I got, and unfortunately that does look like I'm boring, but I will say very simply, I have a very rich life. I have a lot of love in my life, and, I wouldn't trade anything in my life for any of those great stories that others might have. Because there's a reason I don't, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like I'm happy where I am. I'm okay with where I am. And if that means I have less funny stories and less little silly things I do that make me funny, but I've got these rich memories of happy moments that are awesome to me, then so be it. I'll take it.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up, now I'm going to pass the show back over to you. The one question I do want to ask you is, I asked everyone, going on the record, and yes, I did take that from Bill O'Reilly, going on the record, when I first approached you, what was your honest opinion of me? And after being a guest on my show, how do you feel now?
The record, I truthfully had no opinion. It was, okay, cool, someone wants to do an interview. It's a very... You sent me a message on my business site, so it was a business email and it was a business contact, so it was more, I don't want to say indifferent because that's not right. It was more like, okay, cool, someone wants to do an interview, that'd be very nice. I didn't even assume you had any kind of learning disability or anything until you mentioned it. And then I was more like, oh, all right, that's really awesome what you're trying to do, and cool. I could be on the show, because, for me, it's any press is good press, and here's somebody actually trying to do something good with it. It's a win-win. Having done the show, well, I just think you're horrible. No, I'm kidding. Having done the show, you're very passionate. You're more passionate than you come across in an email, which is obvious. You can't put emotion into an email, but you're very passionate and very strong in what you want to do. And I appreciate that because it is hard to find people that actually really, really, really work hard to get what they want and push forward to what they want, regardless of what holds them back. So, yeah, that would be my opinion now.
No, absolutely. Now we have the last 5 minutes. We're wrapping up. You can ask me anything you want. Are you on social media? This is your time after all.
Oh, you want me to ask you a question? All right. The age-old burning question. If Mickey is a mouse and Donald is a duck, what is Goofy?
A dog.
You sure of that? I don't know, because he walks on 2 feet. It's one of those questions you just ask. Everybody, I get random questions, Disney questions all the time. I don't know. Well, my social media is the Kimberly Amato on Facebook. My website is KimberlyAmato.com. Instagram is at Kimberly Amato, I think is the name. Twitter, Kimberly Amato. In case you aren't curious, pretty much everything is Kimberly Amato because it's easy, except Facebook, somebody had it already, so I had to put the because I am the. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I didn't prepare to actually ask you questions. I'm so used to people just grilling me 24/7 about my books that having a normal conversation interview is nice.
Well, I didn't know. Well, wrapping up, I didn't know you did your own books. How many books did you write?
I've written 2. I've got the 3rd one coming sometime this year. It's been a very weird year for me, so it should have been out last October. And there was a lot of stuff that went down in my life personal-wise, and it just didn't happen. So it's been a long time coming, and I will be honest and say I'm just now. That's why everything is so busy. I'm just now getting back into writing, and a lot of things are happening with it. And I'm doing with my business partner, Nicole Siegelbauer, we're actually doing theater in the backyard. We take a bunch of kids, we take a shortened version of Shakespeare, and we throw a play on in the backyard. So they have a summer of enrichment, and they get to do other stuff, and they learn Shakespeare, which I love. So, it's busy, and I love it.
I hear you. Well, wrapping up the interview segment, stay with us after the show. Wrapping up the interview, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to building a friendship with you.
Thank you.